Assalamu alaikum, my Muslim brothers and sisters. The other time I was discussing the topic of marriage. Uh, we have stopped. I have stopped where I was trying to make a point about the legitimacy of the marriage of the unbelievers. I read the chapter Surah Al-Masad where the jurist derived the legitimacy of the marriage of the unbelievers from. That is where the Almighty Allah affirmed the matrimonial relationship between Abu Lahab and his wife when he said, "Umratu Hammalat al-Hatab." So um, that is it. And in addition, uh, we from now we can understand that marriage is an all-encompassing institution. Is an institution that encompasses around the entire humanity, regardless of its faith, so as to ascertain the that is so as to affirm the dignity of man, that a man is the only creature that comes out into existence through a process of matrimony. The angels do not procreate. The angels need no procreation. They only come into existence through the divine word of Kun Fayakun. The Almighty Allah creates them without resorting to the process of procreation. So, in other words, angels do not beget. And below the man, that is angelic kingdom above the man, in some consideration, not in all consideration, because of course we have prophets and apostles who are above the angelic kingdom. Yet the majority of humanity is below the angelic kingdom. So below the human race, you have animal kingdom, that is the kingdom of animals, where there is procreation. They beget, yet they don't deserve to have the system of matrimony, because what is required of animal kingdom is the meat that they provide, the milk that they provide. All it is needed is meat and milk, then probably a means of transport, as Almighty Allah made it clear when He mentioned the animals He sent down for us. وأنزل لكم من الأنعام ثمانية أزواج يخرج من بطون أمهاتكم خلقا من بعد خلق في ظلمات ثلاث. That the Almighty Allah sent down the animals for you in 8 pairs, ثمانية أزواج. And in the chapter Surah Al-Nahl, He said, وَالْخَيْلَ وَالْبِغَالَ وَالْحَمِيرَ لِتَرْكَبُوهَا وَزِينَةً. He mentioned certain animals that He earmarked as means of transport, not as food, not as a means of sustenance. وَالْخَيْلَ وَالْبِغَالَ وَالْحَمِيرَ لِتَرْكَبُوهَا وَزِينَةً. Horses, mules, and donkeys were created for you to ride as means of transport, and of course to use them as adornment, because when you ride a very strong and impressive means of transport, of course you impress those who see you around. So that's why He said wazina. As for the man, he is the only creature that the Almighty Allah blessed and respected by bringing him into the world through the process of matrimony. Even if he's an unbeliever, then he should come out. He must come out as a product of a matrimonial relationship between his father and mother. Where there is no such relationship, then he is considered as bastard. So that is why this wide range of recognition given to matrimonial process in whatever manner it is taken, it is conducted, regardless of the faith of the couples involved or the progeny they beget. All what is required is that there should be a culture of matrimony. And as we said earlier, the issue of institutional and legislative development of marriage started, as we said earlier, with the time of Adam. Adam was married to Eve. We know Eve was created out of the rib of Adam, that's the left rib of Adam, as the Prophet ﷺ asserted in his tradition. Peace and blessing be upon him. And in the case of their children, as we said earlier, his wife used to give birth to twins. A twin consisted of a male child and a female child. So the Almighty Allah commanded him to marry the male child of the first set of twins to the female child of the second set of twins, and vice versa. You see, here the concept of marriage is the idea of the culture of marriage here is being upheld, because the Almighty Allah did not command him to marry the male child of the first set of twins to his own twin sister. Rather, he should be married to the second set, to the female child of the second set of twins, and vice versa. So as to, that is the narrowest scope from which marriage started. Marriage started from this narrowest scope, because there is no any other family, there is no any other household from which the son of Adam would get married. So of course the only way this concept can be operated, the concept of marriage could be operated, is to take the male child of the first set of twins and marry him out to the female child, and get him married to the female child of the second set of twins, and vice versa. So you can see the operation of the concept is only possible within this very narrow scope, because of the fact that the society, or the human population itself did not even start. A human being itself did not start populating. The only population you have is Adam and his children. So there's no any other household from which a marriage could be made. From which the contract of marriage could be, with which the contract of marriage could be made. So that is it. So as the scope is getting wider and wider day by day, then this injunction was quashed and replaced with another one, because you can see here, that is, when we study the developmental stages of the institution of marriage, starting from the narrowest scope, as I said earlier, within which it started operating, it is getting wider only in accordance to the width of the scope. That the scope is according to the size of human population. That's as human beings started proliferating, you have quite a number of households. That temporary injunction was abolished and replaced with another one, that no human being was allowed to marry his own sister, his full blood sister. He could only marry from his own, that's from another household. We all know that the first marriage conducted here on earth, because one one of the parties involved in the marriage was not happy, was not, that is, did not agree to the wife proposed to him by the Almighty Allah. He resorted to killing his brother, that is Habil. Qabil killed his brother Habil over the woman that was said to be married to Habil, which was preferred by Qabil, and which of course happened to be his own twin sister. His twin sister was more beautiful, and she was said to be married. That is, the Almighty Allah decreed that she should be married to Habil. And the twin sister of Habil was of lesser beauty, and she was the one designated for Qabil to marry. And he was not happy. He felt that he couldn't take it after all. So he insisted on marrying his own twin sister because she was more beautiful. So when he insisted, Adam told him that this is a divine injunction. He said, no. It is because you preferred him over me. That is why you're saying this. So the Almighty Allah intervened and judged between the two of them that each one of them should bring forth a sacrificial offering. This sacrificial offering, the acceptance of which will determine who among the two sons of Adam will marry the more beautiful woman. Qabil, by profession, was a farmer, while Habil was an animal rearer. Of course, that will go on to tell us that the crisis between farmers and cattle rearers was as old as the existence of man. I will repeat. This will go on to tell us that farmers and cattle rearers were all children of Adam, and the crisis between them was as old as human crisis itself. In other words, it was the first crisis that broke out between human beings in the history of man. Human being started having problem with a fellow human being only that the crisis involved only two human beings, one of them a farmer and the other a cattle rearer. This is very interesting and is very, very coincidental as well as relevant, because that's what we are experiencing nowadays, especially in my country, Nigeria, the crisis between farmers and cattle rearers. Although I don't want to be partisan, of course I'm a Fulani man, of course by profession I should be a cattle rearer, although I am not, but all the same, that goes on to tell us that we cannot resolve the crisis of farmers and cattle rearers. We can only manage it because it's as old as crisis itself. That is why I always advise my fellow students to be so much keen in studying history of man, because this will help us in resolving quite a number of crises. We will know their roots, their origin, how they started, whether they will have an end or not, and so on and so forth. So this is a very interesting point, I must say. Yes, it's very interesting, because you can see Qabil, as I said earlier, by profession was a farmer, while Habil was a cattle rearer. So they are all required to bring forth a sacrificial offering. Qabil brought forth some, part of his produce, some of his produce, of course, as they said, according to the history, according to the records of history, what he brought forth was quite insignificant of his agricultural produce, of his crops, while his brother Habil brought forth a very big ram, Here also I shouldn't be charged of partisanship, of being partisan. I dare all those watching me to go and consult the scriptures, starting with my own scripture, the Holy Quran, as well as the earlier scriptures that preceded the Holy Book, that is the Bible, the Torah of Moses, the Bible of Jesus Christ, as well as all other books that discuss this issue of human importance. So when you consult them, you see what they said. Habil brought forth a very big ram with very prominent horns as his own sacrificial offering. In those days, when an offering is made, when a sacrificial offering is made, if it is accepted by the Almighty Allah will send down fire to consume or to take off the offering to the heaven, or to consume the offering rather. But if an offering is rejected, no fire will come down from heaven to consume it. Here, as they brought forth the two of them, a fire was sent down by the Almighty to consume the offering of Habil. That was the ram he presented as his own offering, and ignored the offer of Qabil. The offer of Qabil was rejected, so that got him angry, and he swore by the Almighty Allah that he will kill his brother because his offering was accepted, and the other, the offering of his brother was accepted and his own was rejected. So, of course, we all know what happened, but because of the time, I think I have to stop here. When I come back, inshallah, I'll continue exactly where I stopped. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله وصحبه العظيم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين السلام عليكم.